Ebiere, the hidden heiress of Bayelsa, a Nigerian love story of royalty, betrayal, and reclaiming power. Prologue. Opokuma Kingdom, Bayelsa, South Nigeria. Before the world ever knew oil, it knew the kingdom of Opokuma, a land of river gods, fireflies at dusk, and queens with blood as old as the mangroves. And in this land ruled King Dabo Fubara, whose empire now stretched from creeks to corporations. He had one daughter, only one. Her name was Ebiere Fubara, heiress to the throne and undisputed future of the Fubara dynasty. She had lived a life of silk and coral. She studied economics in Paris, walked with diplomats, and dined with senators. She had everything except freedom. And so, one quiet night just before her 30th birthday, she vanished. Chapter 1. The Princess Who Disappeared. Ebiere didn't leave with a convoy. She left in a keek. She wore no jewels, just a wrapper tied over faded jeans, a headscarf, and a purse with N25,000 stuffed between two Bibles. Her destination, Yenagoa, the beating, gritty heart of Bayelsa. There she rented a small flat in a compound with cracked walls and goats in the corridor. She used the name Ebi, wore cheap slippers, and told anyone who asked that she had just come from Port Harcourt. No one suspected that the girl washing clothes by the borehole had once attended state dinners in Abuja. She found peace in simplicity, sweeping the front yard, eating boli, laughing with market women who didn't care who her father was. And then she met Tamuno Ibiye. Chapter 2. The Man Who Didn't Know. Tamuno was the kind of man Lagos women would call broke but promising. He owned a logistics business, Ebiere Ventures, which specialized in delivery contracts, oil rig parts, and generator rentals. But nothing ever seemed to go right. His truck drivers kept disappearing. His invoices got lost in ministry offices. He owed NIPA 2 months' light bills and had a laptop held together with masking tape. But he was kind, hardworking, and humble. They met at a roadside mechanic's yard. She had come to fix her landlord's generator. He offered to help. She offered him ground nuts. He offered her a job, not out of pity, but because she fixed a wiring problem faster than his electrician. "You smart, oh Ebi," he said. "In a book you read?" She smiled. Small, here and there. Within weeks, they became inseparable. They talked late into the night over bowls of pepper soup. She helped him organize invoices. He taught her to ride a kike. And one day, without diamonds or dances, he said, "I no get palace, but I get peace. Be my wife?" And Ebiere, Princess of Opokuma, said yes. Chapter 3. The Woman Behind the Empire. The wedding was small, no royal regalia, just friends, a DJ, and a pot of native soup. But marriage didn't stop Ebiere from working. If anything, she started building his business, silently, from behind. Using a dormant Fubara holding subsidiary, she funneled small jobs to Ebiere Ventures. Jobs turned into contracts. Contracts turned into deals. Within a year, Tamuno's company was finally breaking even, then thriving. Tamuno assumed it was luck. Ebiere never corrected him. Why? Because she loved him not for recognition, but for what she thought they shared, truth. But as the business grew, so did its staff, and so came Uyai. Chapter 4. Uyai's smile, Uyai's lie. Uyai was beautiful in a dangerous way. Newly hired as Tamuno's executive secretary, she was everything Ebiere wasn't. Loud in makeup, loud in praise, and quick to claim credit. She started small, joking about how men need strong women to succeed. Then she whispered that it was her calls that brought in the deals. Tamuno listened. Ebiere noticed late-night texts, saw lipstick stains on shirt collars, smelled French perfume on her husband's skin. She said nothing until one day, while boiling yam, she heard him say on the phone, "If not for Uyai, this business no for day here today." Ebiere dropped the spoon. She had written the contracts, signed the deals, built the pipeline that gave his business a future, but in his eyes, she was just the woman stirring soup. Chapter 5. The Breaking Point. Determined to save their love, Ebiere decided to do one final thing. Deliver a N650 million deal, the biggest ever for Ebiere Ventures. She negotiated it through her father's company anonymously. Everything was signed and sealed. She planned to reveal the truth over dinner, but Tamuno didn't come home that night. The next morning, he barged in. "I'm tired, Ebi. What do you even do here? Uyai handles everything. You just sit here, playing house." "Tamuno, I need a woman who moves, not one who hides." Then he did the unthinkable. He opened the door. "Leave." And just like that, he threw out a queen. Chapter 6. The Explosion. Uyai moved in. They celebrated, bought matching agbadas, posted soft life selfies on Instagram with captions like, "God did" and "Grace found me." But when the first payment for the deal was due, nothing came. Tamuno called the client. "Sorry, sir," the voice said. "The Fubara family has pulled the contract. Their legal team says your company doesn't meet integrity standards." "Fubara family?" he asked, confused. "Yes, Princess Ebiere Fubara signed the original deal." Tamuno dropped the phone. He had destroyed his future for a woman who wore fake designer shoes and forwarded emails she didn't understand. By the end of the week, his account was frozen. His warehouse seized. Uyai, gone. Chapter 7. The throne reclaimed. Ebiere returned to the palace like the rising tide. Quiet, slow, and unstoppable. She stepped out of a white prado, coral beads on her neck, her father's arms waiting. The king embraced her, tears in his eyes. "You are no longer just my daughter," he said. "You are now the woman who proved herself without the crown." She was made CEO of the Fubara Group's domestic enterprise wing. She created the Ebiere Foundation for Women in Business. She traveled across Africa, speaking on dignity, power, and silence. Tamuno tried to call once. She didn't answer. Instead, she sent a handwritten note. "I loved you when I had nothing. I gave you everything when I had no name. And you chose someone who wore effort like makeup. But I forgive you, because I refuse to let your betrayal define my crown." Ebiere. Epilogue. The rain will come again. Tamuno now lives in a one-room apartment. His name, forgotten. Sometimes he hears her voice on the radio, or sees her giving speeches on NTA. Once he passed a billboard that read, "Princess Ebiere Fubara, CEO, visionary, daughter of the Delta." He lowered his head and kept walking. In Opokuma, the sky turned gray, the wind returned, and Ebiere sat under the baobab tree, her head held high, listening to the breeze that had once whispered her name. The end.